What's up, everybody? You've tuned in to Just Draws, the podcast that explores hot topics and various experiences among same gender loving Black men. In each episode, we offer raw, vulnerable, and stripped down perspectives to give voice to our frequently overlooked population. Here, we don't just scratch the surface, we dive deep, peeling back the layers of our experiences as well as heteronormative stereotypes. Let's get into this week's episode.
All right, so welcome to this special episode of the Just Draws podcast. We see today that it's just me here, Jeff, and I'm doing a solo Just Thoughts episode today. Okay, so some of you may have noticed that there was a, how shall I say, drought in the content that our channel was producing. Some of our loyal followers may have noticed that, hey, there was like a break. There was this big build up, sort of, to season two. And, things just kind of like fell off. Well, I was down in the valley. Down in the valley, down in the slumps, in the dumps, all that good stuff. But I want to explain to how, we got into this little content drought. And it mainly rests on me. And that's okay. So, we're a small podcast here. And as of this recording, it's late spring 2024. We aren't very popular. We don't have a lot of followers. Barely noticeable. I mean, if I had half as many, or if we here had half as many followers on Just Draws as I have across IG and Facebook, I would be happy. But I think we just crested to 40 followers on YouTube earlier today. So I'm happy for that. I'd like a little bit more, but hey, I don't really have that much of a social presence right now, but we'll see. So let's just get right down to it. So individually, the four of us, me, Brandon, Darius, Sean, all wanted to do podcasts, but we were thinking like, oh, this is something that we were looking into doing, individually, not just, as a group. And it just so happens, just in conversation, that we all just kind of like came together and like, hey, we should just do it. Stop just talking about it. Let's just, throw something on the wall, see what sticks. So each of us brings something a little bit different to the podcast. So just specifically me, I'm the more tech-oriented person. So all the computer stuff, I've been the one that's taken lead on that. So I have a little bit of not professional, but amateur experience working with audio and doing some audio remixing and just kind of, adding some things that I do on my personal stuff on the side. So adding that, knowing how to work the audio software that I use, knowing how to do some light video editing, just kind of came all together to create the podcast. So coming with all of that, there's the art, there's sound, there's time to edit, and we always wanted the podcast to be as professional as it could be, even though we're all amateurs. So we've taken, inspiration from, different podcasts that we all each listen to and enjoy, and want to make sure that, if we ever popped off, you could go back and, see the level of quality that we're trying to do here. So as a person that's been wearing a lot of hats, editing down the podcast, mastering the audio, titling, doing the graphics, doing the video, all of that was produced by me. And being dependent on me means that if any shutdown that I experience kind of like derails or puts the podcast on hold, and I don't mind doing this. This isn't a complaint. This is a fact. I've been the person that's been, doing everything as far as getting this podcast distributed across YouTube and Spotify, Apple, all of those things. That kind of goes into me. So that's, again, as the tech guy, that's been my role. Okay, so we've been doing this for almost a year, And with time, I feel like we've gotten better doing it. We're still working and getting feedback and trying to make it the best that it could possibly be. But that takes time. Again, and none of us are pros at this. We're all learning as we go. But again, so going into season two, we wanted to add a little bit more pizzazz, take some lessons learned from the past season. Maybe we need to have a little bit of a presence as far as our faces are concerned. So graphics coming up. A little bit of more artwork, some toying around with the logo. We've been tweaking things, here and there as time has gone on this season. So we had a production meeting, a production schedule, list of topics that we wanted to cover. Everything was basically in place. We just had to like sit down as a group and start recording, and getting things in my hands so that I can produce it, and then distribute it to our listeners and the world to see if we catch the fire. But life happened. It happened to me. And that's basically all I can really say. Full stop. Not really. Yeah, so I had, you know, all I know is that during this process of shortly after we recorded and uploaded episode one, and after that time we recorded episode two. Um, Episode was recorded, everything sitting in the cloud on my hard drive, and I didn't do jack with it. It was just there. It just, I don't know. There was just this point in time where I just didn't feel like doing anything. Uh, and it wasn't the podcast. It wasn't work. It wasn't, my social life. I was just not feeling it. It being just doing much of anything. I just kind of like dropped down to this. I'm doing the bare minimum on everything. That was work. I would just do enough just to, say the major things I need to do at work. Uh, you know, and I work from home, so it wasn't even like I had to do a whole lot. But as far as having to commute and things like that, it's just that there's some things that I could have taken care of a little bit better, and I just didn't. Uh, and then in the meantime, in between time, I would be online, Facebook, Instagram, all that good stuff, uh, texting my friends. They had probably no idea, that I was actually kind of going through it, so to speak, or just not feeling like, not necessarily I was going through anything, just that I just didn't want to do stuff, you know. I wasn't going to the grocery store. I wasn't going to the gym. If you know me, I like to cook, and going to the grocery store is like a big deal to me. I love to do it because I know I'm going to come home, I'm going to have a good meal, and all this stuff. I really wasn't even doing that. Like Amazon and Walmart Plus was doing all of that for the most part. So I'd just be not leaving the house for 2 and 3 days. Days without shaving my head, days without taking a shower, just kind of like just lounging around. Now, I wasn't around people, so it was fine. And just so you know, it may be made for a woman and strong enough for a man, but it works. 48 hours plus, you can get away with it, especially when you're in a climate controlled environment and you're not out, sweating. But yeah, I was a little funky some days, but not really. I had that man sense some of you guys like. Anyway, so, you know, um, definitely I was in a slump. I wasn't really doing much, but I reached the point where I had to let the guys know that, I was going through something, or I wasn't feeling it. I was just, bare minimum, because I didn't want them to start worrying like, where's the content? We recorded this episode, and where is it? It's not uploaded. When I just let them know like, something's going on. I just don't want to do this. Now, locally, my friends here um, had no idea that I was in this little funky episode, because like those couple of days where I knew, my friends wanted to hang out or go out to eat, I would show up. I had, some Taco Tuesdays at my house, and head shave, house clean, food prepped, all that stuff. Like I would leave the house, and take care of some of those things. Um, but have my fellowship with my friends and talk and hug and all that good stuff. And then, when the night ended and they left, and hey, text me when you get home. I locked the door and fall right back into that funkiness for a couple of days, whatever. Um, and I would even go out and visit them, go to their homes, watch movies and things like that, play video games, play card games and things like that. And, no idea. Have a shot or two, cocktail, this on the all that good fun stuff. But soon as, I got back into my car, made it to my house, I was back in that place. And I mean, I'm, playing my video games at home. I'm using my methods of escapism, living as a more vibrant person, I guess, online. Taking a couple pictures and things like that, but on the outside, no one would have really known except for the guys on the podcast that I said in the chat, hey, this is going on. All I knew is that I was feeling different. And, you know, I was just, some days I was just running on fumes. I really couldn't put a handle on it. I felt like I was sleeping okay. And there wasn't anything ever that I could say that this is wrong. It's just that I just had a funky feeling. Um, and that was it. So, in this extended isolation and quiet at my house, one Thursday, I just said, you know what, I can't, I just can't do this anymore. I've got to do something. I gotta pull myself together. I need to be performing better at work up to my ability. I need to get this content out. I need to edit this video. I want to, go out the house and do some things. Like I can't sit in here and be in this hermit mode. So, I got up one day, I shaved, I showered, put on some clothes, made my way to the grocery store, picked up some stuff for a nice meal, cooked it, going into the weekend. I cleaned my place up. I was supposed to like hang out with some friends and everything. And, again, because I was doing that, earlier before, they had no idea I had this going on. They had no idea. I looked fine. And it was basically like after that day, that weekend, it was like, we back, baby. So after that, that Monday, Sunday night, I logged in. So I had a stack of work I needed to, start working on and made my way through that. So, got through that whole little thing. My productivity had gone up. Eventually, over the week, I was pretty much caught up with everything that I needed to do. Make sure I was meeting deadlines and, my responsibilities. Again, we had recorded, episodes, and I had to start working on getting that stuff, produced and uploaded for, our listeners. So put those hats on. I had three other people depending on me to get that stuff done as far as it relates to this podcast. And, you know, I did what I needed to be, what I needed to do. Life be life and life happened to me. And I wish I could like have a better explanation than just say, hey, this is what it was. But there was no major life event, no relationship thing, nothing with my family, none of that. It was just some funkiness going on. Um, but the good thing about that is that it kind of let me maybe take the break that I needed to take just on other things. An internal vacation, if you will, if you want to say it. But again, we back. So what happens now? What happens now is what has been happening lately. So you should notice if you're one of our loyal subscribers that we have content coming up on a pretty good cadence now. And I'm excited about that. We've got episodes that have already been recorded and produced that just have to be uploaded to the site and released to you on Spotify and YouTube. We've got some really cool discussions coming up, even on the production calendar and schedule. So I'm really looking forward to recording those things that we haven't even done yet. Um, and, everything's just waiting on you. So I hope you guys can stick around and spread the word out, like and subscribe to us here at Just Draws. and you'll see what we've got coming up. Um, and if you're listening to this, and again, I'm recording this in May 2024, and if this is years down the road, years away from 2024, I hope that uh, the podcast has gotten to the point where we are producing quality episodes, and you're seeing us do way bigger things than we ever thought we would be. If we only get one more subscriber between now and then, up to number 41, that'll be okay. We're all having fun here, and I'm hoping that we can provide you with some more interesting things as we grow and learn in this space. And thanks for sticking around. So again, I'm Jeff here at Just Draws. We'll see you later. Peace.
We hope you enjoyed this episode. Now be sure to like, share, and follow us on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Podcasts, and Spotify at Just Draws. That's JustDrawz.